Hey everybody, it's Allison again, stlprostretch.com. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to work through the third set of resistance stretches. This one's a little bit more difficult, so just do what you can. If you can't do the quad stretch we're going to do against the chair, refer to the video number 1 where I do the lateral quad where I'm rotating the knee in and open. That's perfectly good substitution. So let's come to the mat. Again, work within your range of motion. Don't work through pain. Always move and always resist unless I tell you not to. Let's come to the mat. All right. So today we're going to be working through medial hamstring, quad at the wall or at the chair, groin stretch, and then lateral hamstring. So let's start with the medial hamstring. Go ahead and get a block if you need it for your head. You might need a strap. You might not. I'm going to lie down on the mat and bring my left knee out to the side, just like that. I'm going to make the OK sign with my index and my thumb, index finger and my thumb, and I'm going to hook my heel just like that. This knee, we don't want it to come up when we're going into the stretch. We're going to do a strengthening exercise first, or an activation. If you cannot reach your heel, you're going to use a strap like that. That's fine too. But hook your heel, and then you're going to move the heel toward your groin. So that is going to be your strength. Your arm is going to be moving the opposite direction and slowing the movement down. Okay? So we want to try to activate this medial hamstring, which is on the medial side of the back of your quad, almost near your inner thigh, but it's more to the back. And you can put your hand right there and see if you can feel it contract. It is wrapped up in your adductors, so it may be hard to feel, but I want you to put your mind there and just see if you can contract it. All right, now we're going to move into the stretch. So you're kicking down toward the groin, and now I'm going to let my arm win as my heel is pulling toward the groin and stretch it out. I'm going to focus on that movement. And you may notice the back of your shoulder is getting quite a workout here as well, and that is okay because you're using your rear delt for the resistance. And then let's move on to the other side. So again, knee goes out and down. I'm going to make the OK sign with my index and thumb, index finger and thumb. Use the strap if you need it. Yes, you can still do this with a strap. And the heel is going to move down toward the groin. My arm is moving the opposite direction to slow the movement down. I'm trying to hit that medial hamstring. And I'm just kind of strengthening it to activate it and just really putting my mind into using this muscle instead of the other hamstrings. Because a lot of times the other hamstrings are just, they're stronger and it's easier for them to take over. Especially if you do a lot of yoga and you sit in a straddle a lot. These muscles tend to get very weak and overstretched. So activating them is usually a good thing. And then we're going to start working through the stretch. So I'm kicking down, and I'm going to let my arms win now. I'm going to keep the heel kicking down and let my arm win and open up. Usually what happens is my arm gets tired. And that does happen because, usually your legs are a lot stronger than your arm. But if you're looking to work your rear delt, this is a great way to do it. You don't even need any equipment. Whew, my arm is getting so tired. I haven't done this one for a while. All right, and then we're going to move on to quad. And as I said, if you cannot do the quad against the chair because it is super intense, then do this lateral quad from video number 1 in its place. Okay, I've got my chair here. I'm going to take a big bunch of blankets on the floor near it. And you could use a chair for balance, or I don't usually use a chair, or yoga blocks will work too. So I'm going to kneel near the chair. Keep in mind that closer your knee is to the chair, the more intense this is going to be. So the farther away your knee is from the chair, the easier it's going to be. I'm going to kick my other leg out to the side. I'm going to put the block down and then flip my leg up the chair. This may be a stretch in itself, which is fine. All right, we're going to come up if you can. Just take a moment to get used to being here. If this hurts your knee, then go back to the other stretch. Or you could always put more padding underneath your knee, like lots and lots of padding. And we're going to move through the resistance portion. I'm pushing my foot into the chair or the wall. You can do this up against the wall. It's fine. I just prefer a chair. Pushing my foot into the chair. This is strength. Think leg extension. Okay, and then keep pushing into the chair and back it up. We want to do the opposite of sticking your butt out and pull your belly in. So this is your traditional, like quad stretch at the wall. But we're adding movement and adding resistance. And you should feel a difference. It's going to feel fiery. It's going to feel intense. And it's not for everyone, that I will say. And then we're going to switch legs. So you can either just, put both feet up and then pull your foot through if you're flexible enough to do that. If you're not, then I would start facing away from you. My knee is on the blanket. I have my foot out. And then I'm going to turn and flip my foot up. And I'm going to come up. So I'm up. I'm going to just kind of get used to being here. Sometimes for me it's a little bit of a shock to my quad, just getting into this position. And then I'm going to push my foot into the chair, coming forward. And then keep pushing the foot into the chair and move back. Now, whether you do this stretch passive or not, it's up to you. I just feel like a lot of times I tend to have a lot of fibrous adhesions in my quad where the little sarcomeres are all bound up. And this tends to fire them out a little bit better. A lot better, actually. Otherwise, it's just kind of like tying a knot in a rubber band and then pulling the rubber band. The rubber band's just still there. So this type of stretching does help you rid yourself of adhesions and knots in your muscle fibers, which makes for healthier tissue. A lot of people ask me how much resistance to give. Well, that's up to you. I feel like the more resistance I give, the better the stretch is, but if you don't use very much resistance, that's okay too. It all works. Take all the time you want. You can keep doing this for the next 5 minutes. But we are going to move on to the next stretch, which will be groin. So groin, this is your butterfly stretch. I'm just going to sit in butterfly. And I see a lot of people pushing and just pushing and pushing and pushing. These muscles like to be resistance stretched, let me tell you. You will get farther and farther into getting your knees down to the floor doing it this way. You're also going to get a really awesome trap stretch and rhomboid stretch. So try it. You're going to pull your knees together. My elbows are hooked on the inside. My arms are pushing open. That's the resistance. So as you bring your knees together, we're strengthening by pushing the elbows open. And then I'm going to let my elbows win, and the knees are going to resist against them as I open up. So pulling together and then open. I'm so open in my inner thigh, I almost don't want to stretch them anymore. But this for me is a great trap and rhomboid stretch for my back. So I just try to enjoy that and try to wear these puppies out. Now, for some of you, this might be a huge stretch. And for some reason, these muscles tend to get a little shaky. I don't know why, but they do. I think part of it is they just aren't used to being moved in this way. And then we are going to move on to lateral hamstring. So, lateral hamstring, we're going to lie down again. And this one, you may need a strap because this one can get, it takes a little flexibility to do, I will say. I am going to use a block underneath my head or a pillow or whatever. Lie down. And I'm going to take my right knee and move it over. I'm going to bend the knee, and it's going to kind of come over to the side, over to the left side. So then I'm going to lift my chest, and if you can, I'm going to reach the outside of this foot. So I've got my hand on the outside of the foot. I'll show you what that looks like a little closer. Hand is on the outside. Got it? So the hand on the outside of the foot. And I am going to kick the heel down toward my outer hip. It looks like this, heel kicking toward the outer hip, like I'm getting internal rotation here. So I'm going to kick to the outer hip. That's your strength. And then for a stretch, I'm going to keep kicking the heel toward the outer hip, and I'm going to pry my leg open and across the body to the left. I'm going to tilt my left knee inward for that stretch. Now, if you want to do this with a strap, that's fine. Just put it around your foot, hold it, kick the heel toward the outer hip, and then drag it across. You could also do this one in a straight leg version with the strap. So straight leg is just kicking down and out away to the right, and then I'm going to bring it across the body with my left arm, and I'm going to tilt my left knee inward. So that is a good way to do it with a strap. I do prefer kind of the straight leg version with the strap, but you can do it any way you want. So heel down toward the outer hip, bring it across the body. This one can get really, really, really tight. So please work within your range of motion. And then we will switch to the other leg. Feel free to keep going if you want to. So again, my left heel, I'm just going to bring my knee across the body, and I'm going to reach up with my right hand and grab the outside of that foot. The heel's going to kick down in the direction of my left hip, the outer hip, and I'm going to bring it across the body with my right arm. Now you can start with just strength. Just start here and then bring it down to warm that muscle up if it's super tight. I kind of, for this one, I just like to work through both the strength and the stretch at the same time. Because I'm pretty warm from doing all the other stretches anyway, so. Again, remember to tilt that right knee in at the end because you're going to end up getting a little bit more stretch. And again, you can use the strap. Kicking down and then bringing it across. Or straight leg. Across. Whew. And that is a deep, deep stretch, I will say. So 4 stretches today. This actually is the entire X quadrant. I have a video on the X quadrant explaining like how you problem solve with it. So basically, if you have a tight groin, you need to work this lateral hamstring. It's a balancing muscle. So if one muscle is tight, usually the other one's kind of weak. And then the same goes for the medial hamstring and the quad. They do the exact opposite actions. So if your quad is tight, keep working your medial hamstring. Eventually, the strength is going to balance out, and you're going to find more harmony and more balance in your muscles. Again, happy stretching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.